Perfect. This is happening. Okay. Hello everyone. I am Lauren with Modern Day Hypnosis and I am so excited to talk about these self-applied hypnosis techniques. I just really love talking about hypnosis and I feel like a lot of that responsibility is in demystifying what hypnosis is. Oftentimes people will avoid eye contact or, ask me if I can on the spot, put them into an altered state, or is it real that I could make them, blah, blah, blah. It is real. It is something that you are already doing. And I've studied these techniques. And so I could do that for you. Is it a suggestion that is going to last? Well, that depends on, is this a suggestion that you want? Because I couldn't use hypnosis to do anything that you don't want. And I want to repeat that because this is a misconception that a lot of people have about hypnosis. They think that they're giving their power away. Instead, when you realize that it's only something that could be done for your own intended outcomes, there's nothing that's going to happen that is outside of your control. It is always self hypnosis. No suggestion is going to last that you don't want. Now, when we've seen stage shows, or that's most people's understanding of hypnosis, it is real. However, those people, they're not stooges, but they did comply. Okay. There were some compliance or convincer. There was a buildup. The hypnotist does some things before those people go on the stage, or once they're on the stage. If they're not following along with the suggestions, then the hypnotist, politely, or it's entertainment, they're asked to leave that performance. Now, when I'm saying suggestions, I could suggest for you to give me your attention for just a little bit. I really know that the things that I'm going to say for you tonight are going to be my best interpretation of making hypnosis tangible. And so I'm just going to suggest that you open your mind, you stay present, you let go of any assumptions that you have about hypnosis so that you can hear the way that me, a professional, experienced hypnotist, is explaining this. Now, I do this workshop on routine, and you've heard me, if you've heard those workshops, say hypnosis in different ways. And none of those were the one way or a wrong way, because there are just so many different ways. There are actually probably at least 9 billion ways. If there's 9 billion brains, right, or people alive on the planet today, then each of us is going to understand and interpret this occurrence that is already happening. So if hypnosis is the art of making suggestions and your mind is suggestible and you already have your own way of experiencing this and doing this for yourself, then why aren't you doing it? Did you know that you can make suggestions and that your brain will experience the suggestions that are most in alignment with what you want, and it will make those changes? This is the type of work that professional hypnotists do. In a clinical setting, we help people change habits, release addictions, release fears, even make physiological changes. Eyesight, hair regrowth, skin conditions, allergies. I mean, there are so many case studies of things that have been supported through this hypnosis or the power of suggestion. And again, it's not anything to be afraid of, because it's never going to do anything that you wouldn't want it to do. It's not going to change things in your brain that aren't of benefit. That it doesn't last that you barking like a dog. But what does last is that you can feel like that anxiousness that gnawed at you from childhood or because of some trauma. It can last, that is gone forever. Okay. You can go to check out some interviews with past clients on the podcast Co-Creation Nation and hear firsthand from people how this art of suggestive therapy made changes in their life. So it probably sounds like I'm pitching hypnosis, and that's because, step one of the hypnosis process is the power of belief. Not that it's a placebo of belief. You don't have to hope in all of that. The hypnosis is your thing. You just have to be willing to follow those instructions. And these instructions for the styles of hypnosis, I want tonight to just give you, I really wish that you could understand how intangible these things are. And so in reality, I am giving you these tools right now. And if you want the lifetime access, for the organized, you can interact with these tools through audios that I've made. I even have videos where I'm speaking to that right side of your mind, that subconscious, emotional, creative side of your mind. I trance talk them to you. And trance talk is what I've termed that kind of guided imagery and meditation. I also have the guided imagery meditation for different types of goals you can go and experience and just use them again and again. Or you can get the scripts so that you could understand that science of using language almost like in a coaching or neurolinguistic processing way, or instead of saying almost, it is exactly that. Because psychotherapy, coaching, I mean, so much of the art of communicating and imprinting into our thoughts and our emotions, these things are rooted in what we have just been calling this word hypnosis for not only hundreds, but thousands of years. And so we've been using this, or societies have, and it's stood that test of time. Yet it has remained mystical, but understand how clear it is. Here's this technique, okay? One of dozens of the techniques of hypnosis. This is called resource allocation. You identify a resource that you would like to add into your life, and then to your subconscious, it is made real. Now, let me back up and explain how, you would do this, and then we'll go through if you have specific things that you want me to, give you examples of, please put those in the chat. I'm so glad that you are here and participating, by giving me your focus and that open mind so that I can help you have hypnosis techniques. Now, most often when people talk about what they want to change, they talk about what they want to subtract. I don't want this. I wish I didn't have that. If this experience were in my life, then, it wouldn't be this way. Or if only I would comply, then, blah, 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 this would change. When we're talking about what we wish would subtract, well, understand that that thing is there, that coping mechanism, that response, that story is what you are keeping because in some way it is keeping you safe, at least in the subconscious. And the subconscious is almost a very literal and childlike aspect of mind. It's not necessarily logical because often in our logical mind we talk about what will be or what was. And so in our logical mind, actually we're regularly removed from the true present. And in that true present, which is where your subconscious always is, if we could just make it simple as to what we're adding instead of what we're subtracting. So let's think about a goal. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being active in the group. Okay, so this goal of like confidence, self-esteem. A lot of people talk about if I would just remove the weight, right? Or if I would just add in the prosperity. But what is that thinking that you're removing out the lack? Now, this feeling of confidence is going to feel one way. We could call it you have purpose, you feel important, you feel achieved. All of those words are more just ideas. They're not technically feelings or emotions, because that feeling or emotion of it, we would just say is good, right? As compared to bad. So if you're just trying to communicate to your subconscious, I want my emotions to be good, or, sort of fake it till you make it, pretending to your subconscious, my emotions are good, the subconscious starts feeling a lot of self judgment. So make it even more simple for that childlike part of mind. Maybe happiness for you feels tall or warm. Well, then those are very clear descriptors. And we can use this idea of imagination or the art of storytelling through hypnosis, suggesting this story. Imagine you're on a beach and oh, it's so warm and perfect. Or you're standing on that beach and you feel the sand and your shoulders and spine can just grow and grow. You could be very creative. You could imagine yourself comfortably being stretched between something. The imagery, the options for those stories would be infinite. You could take these stories into a context of time in the past. You could imagine a future life, your future self. Um, See yourself completely having achieved everything you want. You have all of your goals accomplished this year, or anything that's reasonable by this year, this, let's say, couple of years, and you feel taller, or you experience that space of whatever is warmer. It's so simple like that. We actually kind of overcomplicate things in our conscious mind, and that keeps the story removed from us experiencing it right now. If right now, if you could feel taller, and if right now you could feel warmer, and if you've coupled those descriptors together to good, that feeling, which is the placeholder for all those other complicated things, good feels warm, and you feel warm right now. Well, what have you done? You have made that real for your subconscious, and then your subconscious believes everything which is made real for it. And that's why if we're only in the conscious mind, it can't always get real for the subconscious. Now, it feels sometimes like when I'm explaining this in the style I'm explaining this today, that if I've made it too abstract for you, you're going to think, I don't understand this. I'm not going to know how to do this, or, what does this even mean? I don't believe in any of it. It's not a necessity that you believe it. And please don't feel um, intrigued to understand this. The understanding, your understanding will come as you experience this. And this is what happened for me, all those years ago, when I thought, wow, okay, that sounds really good, that I could change this habit just by getting myself to connect to that, that feeling, or shifting things in that story in the imagery type way that I would sort of feel it, or see it, or hear it, or smell it, or touch it, whatever senses your body needs to make it real. And I gave myself this simple suggestion, and the next day it worked. And I thought, wow, that was really trippy. And I can understand where people have a bit of fear or resistance, because you think if we are that suggestible, that we could be made suggestions that are negative for us. But it can't work like that. But it can work that you can make suggestions for yourself that change your life. And you're going to be the best storyteller and hypnotist for you. And that is why I want you to have these techniques. Okay. So resource allocation, don't forget about that one. Timeline therapy. Okay. That was one that I kind of alluded to as well, where you could go in the past, any context of the past. You can go into any past life. There's there's so much that we can, I'm going to say, tangiate. So please let me know if that's a word that makes sense to anybody, or if somebody's like, give this to me in a more a real or simple way, Lauren. And I put that together in just 10 lessons. I swear it sounds like it would be too much, but in just 10 lessons, I take you from the start to the finish of everything that you would need to know about how to apply hypnosis for yourself or for others. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter if you're open minded or interested in psychology, metaphysics, personal development. There are so many people who find hypnosis comes to their path out of need, right? They've gone to every conventional or logical, direction, and it wasn't working for them. They were frustrated, they were desperate, or I'll hope, at least in this modern context, that we are sort of waking up to a curiosity of, really, is hypnosis that powerful? Well, maybe I should be doing this for myself. If other things are hypnotizing me, maybe it's time I hypnotize myself. Well, let me tell you about a student whose name is Lynn, who is maybe in that first category of, I'll just say, non-believer. He wasn't open. He didn't care about, the potentials of further and beyond consciousness, etc. He wasn't interested in any of the mystique. He needed his goal achieved. And he wasn't getting it from this source or this source or this source. And so he stumbled across hypnosis, and he did about 20 hours of research and found, at the bottom of the sources, hypnosis is possible in making these things in a permanent way for your psychology and your physiology. And so, like any, true scientist, he gave it a shot. What is there to lose? I'll do a couple of sessions. It blew him away because it worked in a quicker time than he even thought possible. And because he'd already committed to a third session, so he got his problem fixed in just two, that third session, he focused on something that was completely, um, you know, un, uh, I don't even know what word to say for that. It was for dancing. It was for rhythm. It was something where he thought it was very low threshold. He was sort of like, this would be fun. I kind of want this. He wasn't absolutely dependent or desperate for that goal, but it worked. It helped this guy who'd never felt comfortable or connected into his body. I mean, he had comments on it, on his skill of dancing, over that next weekend. And so hypnosis really can make suggestions for these things that are important for you in your everyday life. Lynn's gone on further to study hypnosis and is working now successfully as a professional hypnotist, helping people who need help in their stories or who want help in their stories. I mean, this isn't only for people to change, things that they, really need, for their brain or body, but just things that they want. Business, elite, children, better focus, better, ease at retention and memory, athletics. Now, another student, Anna, was completely open to everything, and she was actually already very versed in a lot of training that she'd done, and she was working actively as a coach and using already so many um, attempts at what I want to say these techniques are. And this is similar to me. When I first started studying, I was studying everything from so many different sources because I kept trying to get it, to understand how it works. Is it just this script? Do we just say these words in this way? Is it about drawing out the sounds and making it real bedtime story? What I can tell you that I've seen, and everything that I've pieced together and put into kind of the clarity to me of the complete product is that you can individualize it as much as you want, but it's always these core mm, processes. Okay. And that's completely simplified, or at least, for Anna, it was completely simplified and everything just kind of clicked for her. And in her personal life, I mean, it was, humbling when she shared with me about how, the impact that this had made for her privately. And then, the changes that she's making for others and very, very short times, one or two sessions. If you work with others and you decide you want to do a series of 6 to 12 sessions, that's your privilege and decision. It is best to apply these techniques for yourself. Become the best you, the most compassionate and generous, and just living in your full light. Okay, so I really want you, if you are ready to get those techniques, because I want to give them to you. I just literally want you to have and value them. So I give you coupons. You can use 20% 20OFF for a 20% off coupon. If you go to hallhypnosis.com, you can pay the full price. You can use 20% off. You can pay installments. Okay, so it's not out of reach for anyone, because also, if you want 40% off, okay, if you want twice of 20, you can have 40OFF. Make the choice that is going to um, adhere the value for you, because you have lifetime access to lessons, to videos, to scripts, to handouts, to quizzes, assignments. It's all on one easy to access page. It's just there for you for your entire life, or I guess the life of the internet. You have these ancient techniques in this awesome modern interface, which to me is just amazing. And I'm so excited that I get to share these, especially in this kind of interactive way. So let me know any particular goals, because I do want to go through a full sort of hypnosis experience, so that, for in exchange for your attention and time tonight, that I've given you this kind of valuable thing. I mean, it actually is a complete value for your subconscious just to hear from me that it can change its own stories, and it could add in the resources. It could feel the way that it was waiting to feel. If you were waiting for the relationship of your life to feel complete in your heart, pretend for 10 seconds that you feel that right now. Close your eyes. You don't have to. Okay, if you're driving, definitely don't. But when we close our eyes, we can get further, or I'll say fuller, connected to experiencing that sort of sensation. Not all people are uh, connected to their body in that way, in that kinesthetic of feeling things, but most people do have the ability to visualize things. So close your eyes or keep them open and visualize your heart, as though all the fragments of your heart are kind of magnetically springing back into your chest. And it just kind of pulses together now very gently, very soothingly. And that sweet, red or amber or scarlet, it could be white, whatever color, whatever shape, whatever size, whatever texture, temperature. Don't let yourself feel judgmental. There's no right or wrong way. And I'll say that again, because oftentimes when people, are talking with me, and they probably think, oh, hypnosis, it's this weird sort of psychology, mind trick that Lauren's going to do. So, Lauren, that's me. I say, picture a staircase, and they're squinting, and they're like, I'm really, really trying. I just don't see it. It's all black. And I'm like, okay, you're expecting, you're judging, you're being competitive with yourself about what seeing a staircase would look like. Because as soon as I say staircase, you know what a staircase looks like. Even if you've never actually seen one in person, you've seen one. I'm going to make an assumption. Okay, you've seen one, somewhere in a movie or something like that. Um, so it's not so much about being competitive with yourself about how clear do you see it. It's more like, see the staircase, and then what? And then be on the staircase, or feel the handrail, or this staircase represents for you an opportunity to move, towards the thing you want, to move, equally away from all the things that you don't want. Start with addition. And when you're moving towards the things you want on this staircase that you can see or feel, maybe you feel the handrail, or you feel your body, you could, descend or ascend. Make it very gentle. Make it very peaceful. You could run, you could feel exhilarated. Stay focused on that present experience, because to your subconscious, it is being made real. And I really hope that this is landing for anyone out there, because honestly, the super, super simplicity of this is that you are connecting, and what we call in the industry, associating to the solution. Do you remember that, we're motivated towards pleasure and away from pain? Well, when we connect and associate to the solution, that means we deconnect or disassociate from the previous solutions. Most people would call those problems. And the reason I'm calling those previous solutions is because if we consider them problems, if we feel like there are problems at all, if we're oriented to pain, then the subconscious, which is the trusting, the believing, the emotional, the childlike, it is going to want to be away from that pain, and is going to want to run far away from pain. Sure, we have desired pleasures, But in that moment, we just need security. We become almost animalistic. We don't have time to be all up in the, imagination of what we truly, truly want. It's more about what do we need? Well, we need to be safe because we feel like there is so much pain. So it's easier to me, in the time that I've been studying hypnosis, applying hypnosis, seeing firsthand the case studies of hypnosis. It's easier for me to talk about this as though I'm dehypnotizing people. I'm dehypnotizing anything that has limited anyone, even if it is unconscious, meaning that there's a thing that's happened, right? I think we're talking regularly in psychology now, and in the mental health present times about traumas. We don't need to unpack that trauma. That trauma, of course, as implied, was a pain, right? So we just need to get the subconscious to sort of get that present sense of it's okay. You can stop running. That trauma isn't happening right now. Even if they're having, some PTSD triggers, it's not the thing right now happening that you have to be aware of. You could be aware of the sound of your breathing. You could be aware of, your feet. If, where are you seated? Well, how comfortable does that feel? It must be able to feel sort of comfortable. It's probably not broken glass that you're sitting on, and you can just take a breath and you can just start training the cells in your mind to get back into what's called homeostasis, right? Balance, home, right? Just comfort. Because for many, many people, and it just seems to be, it's been prevalent even before COVID, this kind of anxiety, epidemic or neuro, divergent, where people are feeling like there's something in their brain not right. They're not balanced. They're not in that sort of equilibrium, homeostatic, the rest and repair place. Well, the brain just loves drama. It enjoys feeding off of problems. It in some way has put you in a loop where you are orienting and associating everything as pain. Oh, I want to lose all this weight. Well, that's going to be so much pain because I'm going to have to force myself to be at the gym and put up, put out all the things that I enjoyed as far as foods. We can't motivate ourselves towards pain. And that inner critic, which we could, I sometimes get this word, but not always, anamorphosize, that tendency in the brain to enjoy the stress or catastrophize things. We could look at it as a person, a critic, and then we could talk with them in a chair. And we could basically say, thanks so much for doing what you've done. That was fun. We had some good times last year, keeping me up, biting my nails off. You don't have to make it playful. For some people, it's not um, accessible for them to be playful like that with these really hard things that they've gone through. And that's okay. Humor and levity is an amazing way for the subconscious just to make quick things, but start with where you are, which is why in the self-applied hypnosis techniques, package and program, I have done for you not only the 10 lessons that you could just passively sort of take in, and others that are more, left brain visual. So sometimes when I'm seeing those, I have the lesson audios that are, logical and science based, and then the other video lessons, which are emotional based, and you can take those in just like trance talk. So you can take in the lessons, you can learn how to do this yourself, and then also you can experience this for yourself for so many of those goals out there that you have. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I want to go through and give you a experience for letting that subconscious just fully let go of maybe all this, espousing that I've done where I'm going just as full and fast as I could to give you this. Well, I've got your attention so that you feel like you have this, because once you have hypnosis, you will use it for so many different things. And there's so many people who are succeeding in what seems like effortless ways. And I would say it's because they are using these techniques. They may not had even understood that these things were techniques because it's that malleable. You can change and blend it and rename or repackage it, and that's fine. But once you see the core equation of how to do this, you really actually will make this the thing that is important for you. And what's amazing about, so we're at the start of the year. In just a few weeks, the Dave Ellman Legacy Conference will be happening online. And this is an annual or maybe every other year conference that is happening with some of the best, hypnotists who are alive and working today, who are talking on different topics. And the whole theme for this conference is evolving hypnotherapy, because Dave Ellman, decades ago, was one of those modern pioneers who shifted hypnosis and really made it more and more accessible, especially for the medical community, about how to do these hypnosis techniques. So if you're interested in learning from dozens of hypnotists, I'll do a presentation for this conference on the future of hypnotism. So you can go on to the moderndayhypnosis.com or in some of the social platforms and find out how to join for that. It's in just a few weeks. But along with all of that, the most important thing that I would encourage you to do is be at Hall Hypnosis and use the coupons if you like, or go into get your lifetime access for these tools. So let's do a technique right now. I want you to find a place comfortable. Hopefully you've been comfortable this whole time. And as you could check into your body, I want you to breathe fully so that you allow your body to experience being present, letting go of any of that mind candy, any of the exciting things that I was saying or things that brought up thoughts for you. Imagine you could just exist as a body without a mind, yet you would still have this beautiful awareness of the things that you are hearing. How does sound feel? Notice comfort in your body. Imagine textures or the sensations of movement. Let it be soothing and relaxing, but also cleansing. Maybe you could imagine or pretend or visualize within the cells in your body. Your cells are cleaning themselves. You could close your eyes if that helps you maintain or experience deeper focus. Just for a few seconds, experience this shift of stress and tension and expectation or doubts, all of that softening, like evaporating off of you. Imagine it distancing further from you all of your problems, any negative emotions, even unconscious experiences, other people's stuff. You won't have to hear this consciously. You won't need to remember these things. Your entire brain can become clean and empty and open so that your heart can breathe open and your shoulders will naturally sort of stretch out and sink down. Doesn't that feel good? This could begin to sort of bell curve and increase, and it's almost as though you've turned on this awareness in you, which is thinking about how good feels. Breathing, and your heart is beating, and you're just seeing thoughts vanish. I might even invite you to imagine that on your right, sort of, down at the ground, it's like a hole or trash bag. Um, Something that you and your subconscious could just be discarding everything you're through with. You could throw away that critic. You could throw away anything. You've thrown it away now. And then you turn to the left, just in your imagination. You just imagine turning to the left. And then effortlessly, almost like you're floating, or you could be very sort of, slow and rhythmic. You're walking, you're smiling, and you're going to one of your favorite places. It could be your own private island. It could be someplace original that you've never actually been to physically. It could be your childhood space. Experience it with as much of the five senses today as are available for you. This will become stronger for you, this skill of you feeling your imagination. Make it three-dimensional. It's okay if you have thoughts that are happening simultaneously. No need to see this as feeling a specific way. You're just experiencing what feelings come up for you today, and you just keep moving forwards towards the left, and over there at the right behind you now, right on the ground, is that trash. And you could just continue, if you remember, or in your subconscious, it will continue even for the next couple of hours, emptying and freeing you from things, other people's things. Trust me, all negative things. Everything that is no longer serving you is free to leave you. There are no negative malice things after you. You can see yourself protected in a shield of bright light, any color that's right for you in this moment. Take a breath. Imagine smelling, clean smells, or, if it's yellow, it could be lemon, or it's yellow and it could be, roses or sunshine. How does sunshine smell for your imaginative mind? There is not a right answer. There is your answer. You are in control, and you are holding on to this great feeling now. And it continues to sort of, become more and more and more, and even infinitely more now, just better and healing for you, within you and around you. And if you can imagine now that light sort of, just softly sort of shoots out of you, like it pulses out, and it might continue to pulse out or ripple out, just like your heart, the rippling, of your heart frequency beating. And that light, you could be seeing it going into other people around you, into things around you. It could absorb into your pillow, and when you sleep tonight, you can just be marinating in your mind with more and more of that beautiful, that healing, just that soothing feeling. It's happened for you now. And lastly, I want you to see that feeling sort of down in your lower abdomen, a little bit behind the belly button, underneath the belly button. It's almost like tension that you were unaware you'd been holding for decades. It's like it takes a sort of breath, and then it just releases. And this change is something that you don't have to understand, or that's it. That's all I want to say. You don't have to understand it. It's up to you to decide what you believe. Just, I will hope that you have an open mind, because there are so many things that are capable for you. We have a brilliance to our imagination. There's a book on Amazon by this name, The Brilliance of Imagination. You can find it on any of my website things. You can go and see the book, or get the book if you want some of the tools. But every single tool of technique, of category, of the things that I want to give you, and you'll have this lifetime access. So there may even be, new things that ever come in. My ambition, as I demystify hypnosis more and more, will continue to be demystifying it. Okay. So just take a big warm breath, feel tall if that was imagery that resonated with you. So tall and warm and happy. And just thank you so, so much for this time and this attention. You can see me again in just another 2 weeks. I'm going to keep this routine for, you know, until I announce otherwise. So we're going to find Monday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, for you to share your personal goals for the self-applied hypnosis techniques. So it's Hall Hypnosis. I am Lauren Hall. That's HALL, hallhypnosis.com. Have a great and happy January 9th, everybody. And I'll see you later. Bye.